What's going on, guys? CJ Curry here. We're talking prize picks. We got NFL Week 6 on the way. Talking Thursday night football game for you. We got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. My name's CJ. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button now. It's free for you to do. We're on our way to 25,000 subs. I can't believe we're almost there. I appreciate everybody who's already on board and subscribed to the channel. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button. Slap the like button for me as well. You guys have been smashing that like button at a very high clip. I appreciate that. And then make sure you turn on all notifications as well. It may not be a bad idea to turn on those notifications so that anytime I drop a new piece of content, you're alerted immediately as soon as that new video drops. Now, I'm here in Tampa, Florida. This is my second attempt at trying to record the video. The first time the power cut out on me, and we are on our way to a monster hurricane coming to the Bay Area. So I'm going to try to record this video again and get it out there to you guys. And then I don't know what's going to happen later on tonight and into tomorrow, but you may not hear from me for a while. If you're in Tampa or in the Florida area, guys, I'm praying for you. I hope everything goes as best as it possibly can. But without further ado, let's get into today's PrizePicks Plays. Again, PrizePicks still doing a promotion. If you use promo code CJ Curry or the special link down in the description of today's video, for the first $5 you play, they're going to give you $50 back. Take advantage of that. All the links to everything that I use in these videos is down in the description. So let's start things off here by taking a look at this game. San Francisco visiting the Seattle Seahawks. This game actually has a pretty high total of 49 points. Not bad for a Thursday night football game. San Francisco, 3.5-point favorites in this one. No real weather concerns or issues for us to really worry about. But there are lots of injuries on both sides of the ball here. San Francisco's secondary is a little bit beat up. And then over on the Seattle side, you got issues along the offensive and defensive lines. And I think we want to take advantage with some of these player props that we're going to discuss in today's video. So let's go ahead and discuss those now, starting with the first pick. I'm going Jordan Mason, running back of the San Francisco 49ers. 15.5 fantasy score. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen running backs gash this Seattle Seahawks front four, and I hope that there is more of that in store in this game. Back 2 weeks ago against the Detroit Lions, you had both David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs find the end zone, a total of 3 touchdowns between the two of those backs. And then last week, you had Tracy of the New York Giants go for well over 100 rushing yards against this same Seattle Seahawks defense, who's going to be on a short week against this guy, Jordan Mason. So I would not be surprised if Jordan Mason has a nice rushing output and potentially finds the end zone in this run-heavy offense. So let's take a look at some projections here for Jordan Mason. We're going to go over to RotoWire first and foremost. When we punch in Jordan Mason's name over there, scroll down, you can see he's projected for right around 15 fantasy score, 14.99, let's call it 15. So he's going to be in that ballpark between, 15 and 16 fantasy score from the way things look here. And then we're going to also take a look at Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs, one of the better projection models out there. We punch in Mason's name over there, and you're going to get a projection, let's see, let's switch this up here. There we go. 17.65, putting him 2 fantasy score higher than where he's at on PrizePicks at just 15.5. And then last but not least, let's run over to the Blitz real quick and plug in Mason's name there. And when we do so, you can see that he is projected for about 17.36 fantasy score, putting him, again, close to 2 fantasy score higher than where he's sitting at on PrizePicks. Now, as far as Mason and what he's done this season on this fantasy score number of 15.5, he's gone over in 3 out of 5 games. Again, I look to them to get back to their run game, especially against the Seahawks, who have been very vulnerable on the ground against opposing running backs in recent weeks. So what else are we going to do? We're going to look at the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm looking at their defensive line. There's a number of sack props up for the San Francisco 49ers as they take on a beaten, battered, and bruised Seattle Seahawks offensive line. You've got Mr. Nick Bosa, who's probably the best play of these 3 defensive linemen, and the reason he is a goblin is because he has the best chance or highest projection of recording at least a half a sack or more. Now, Bosa, he's going to be lining up on the left side of the defensive line, which means he's going to be matched up against the right tackle for the Seattle Seahawks in their offensive line. Well, the bad news for the Seattle Seahawks is they are now on their third string offensive right tackle. And so Nick Bosa, one of the best edge rushers in all of football, should have a field day here. Now, if there's some situation where maybe they send a tight end over there to double team Bosa, maybe they use a running back to kind of chip block Bosa, then you may want to go over to this guy instead. I'm talking about Malik Collins. Now, he is a demon, meaning higher risk, but potentially a higher reward or higher payout in this case if he records a half a sack or more. He would be my second favorite of these three, and then Leonard Floyd would probably be my third favorite. But I do think that these 49ers defensive linemen are going to get home on Gino Smith at least once. So that would be a half a sack or better we need from any of these guys. But Nick Bosa is projecting the best at nearly one whole sack, 0.90. And then you have Malik Collins projected for about 0.3 sacks. So those are some options for you on the San Francisco side of things. Let's flip things over to the Seattle Seahawks and talk about the home team. Starting with this first one, Kenneth Walker of the Seattle Seahawks. He's sitting at 14 rush attempts or carries over on PrizePicks. The reason I like this is because the Seattle Seahawks head coach has come out and said, hey, we didn't do a good job getting Kenneth Walker involved. He needs more touches. That's my fault. And so they're going to try and get Kenneth Walker more carries, more touches in this game. They're talking about getting him 10 to 15 more touches. I don't know how many exactly they're going to get him, but hopefully it's more than the 14 rush attempts that he is projected for here on PrizePicks. Now, if Kenneth Walker gets 14, then it's going to be a tie. It's going to be a push, which means on PrizePicks, you don't lose. It just means your payout goes from, let's say, a 6 pick down to a 5, or from a 5 pick down to a 4 pick. So not the end of the world if he ends up with exactly 14 rush attempts. And there's a pretty good chance that he could end up with exactly 14 rush attempts. If we take a look at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, we plug in Kenneth Walker's name. You're going to see that Kenneth Walker is at 13.5 rush attempts on your favorite sports books. But at 13.5, he's a big betting favorite to go over. Minus 140 odds, minus 135, minus 130 betting favorite to clear 13.5 carries. So if he totes the ball at least 14 times or more, we're safe here on leaning toward the over on this prop. Now, this one is projecting well. If we take a look at some of the projections for Kenneth Walker, we're going to go over here to RotoWire first and foremost. Walker projected for 14 on PrizePicks. He's projected for 15.1 over here on RotoWire. So they've got him projected for more than one whole carry versus where he's at on PrizePicks. So that's a good first projection. Let's check a second projection though, because every projection model is just a little bit different from one model to the next. And so if you have access to multiple projection models, the more the merrier. Taking a look at the Blitz here. The Blitz has Kenneth Walker at 14.96 projected carries, which is 15 essentially. So again, they have him leaning more toward 15 than 14 or 13, which would be very bad news. We don't want him to have 13 carries. So I'm leaning toward the over on Kenneth Walker at 14 rush attempts. Now, if the Seahawks are giving Kenneth Walker more carries, that would mean that Gino Smith isn't going to drop back and pass the ball as much, right? There's only so many plays that the offense can call. So for the next pick, I'm looking at Gino Smith for less than 24.5 pass completions. If they're giving Walker the ball more, Gino Smith throwing less, well, then I like Gino Smith for less on the 24.5 pass completions. Plus, he's got a tough matchup here against the San Francisco 49ers. Their defense, one of the better ones in the league. So let's take a look at some info here on this Gino Smith prop. Starting with where he's at on the sports books, because we've got data here from the sports books at our fingertips. We may as well use it. And when we look at the data here, you can see that at 24.5 pass completions, he's got about a 52% chance of staying under based on the odds pulled from several different sports books and DFS apps across the industry. And so we should be leaning toward the under on Gino Smith. As far as the projections go, those look good as well. Going back over here to RotoWire, we're punching Gino Smith's name in, opening up his player card, and you can see that he is projected for just 22.6 pass completions according to the RotoWire projection tool. So that's a good first projection. Second projection, we're going to go back over to the Blitz and take a look at Gino Smith over there. And when we do, you can see these projected for about 22.5 completed passes, putting him under by 2 whole completions against this San Francisco 49ers defense. Now, it's not going to look sexy when you go and open up an app like Outlier and you take a look at these hit rates. You're going to say, dang, Gino Smith's been going over 24.5 completions. Listen, if you're scared, don't take it. I'm not forcing you to do anything. Take responsibility for your own actions. If you're scared, you don't want to take it under, then take it over or don't take it at all. It's totally up to you. But I will point out that the completion percentage for the San Francisco 49ers against opposing quarterbacks, they rank 10th, meaning they have been tough in completion percentage against opposing quarterbacks. In passing attempts against the 49ers, they rank 6th, does San Francisco, meaning they have a top 10 rating, and that's not good news if you're looking to take the over on anything like pass attempts or pass completions for Geno Smith in this given matchup. So I'm leaning toward the under on this one. Again, do what you want to do. It's your money. It's none of my business how you spend it. Third pick, final pick of the Seattle Seahawks and this video, we're going to go DK Metcalf. Now, I mentioned some injuries on both sides of this game. There are some injuries that we need to take in consideration for the San Francisco 49ers and their secondary. Starting with this guy, Ufanga, their starting safety. He is going to be out for this game, leaving them potentially vulnerable over the top, which is where DK Metcalf could potentially feast on a reception of 24 or more yards in this matchup. So that is a very key injury there, missing their starting safety. They may be missing their other starting safety, Jair Brown, in this one, who is questionable to suit up and take on the Seattle Seahawks in this matchup. So you may have both of the starting safeties out for San Francisco. And when we take a look at the matchup here, as far as the Seahawks receivers go, Seahawks receivers, a couple of them don't have such sexy matchups. Looking first at Jackson Smith-Njigba, arguably the most difficult matchup, going up against Lenore in this one. He gets a 0.80 grade as far as the matchup goes, and then a minus 0.43 in terms of the matchup as well. Tyler Lockett, another one, 0.91. You can see it's highlighted in red for a reason. Not a great matchup going up against Ward. But the guy who does have the best matchup is DK Metcalf, and he just also happens to be their best deep threat, and he just also happens to be their best overall wide receiver. He's going to be matched up against Yadam in this one. 1.15 in terms of the grade that he gets here, the advantage score, according to fantasy points. So I'm liking DK Metcalf to haul in a pass of 24 or more yards. Now, how has he done in this particular prop category? Actually pretty well, especially at home. Let's take a look at it. These are the 5 games that he's played this season. He's gone over this number in 3 out of 5 games. So that's a pretty nice little hit rate, 60% hit rate. If we go back to 2023, you can see that he had a reception of 23 or more yards, 24 or more yards, actually, 24 or more yards in 75% of the games that he appeared in, 12 out of 16. And things got even better last season when DK played at home on that artificial surface that they play on. 86% hit rate, 6 out of 7 games, he hauled in a pass of 24 or more yards when playing at home in front of the Seahawks fans. The only team, though, that he did not have a reception of 24 or more yards against at home was this team, the San Francisco 49ers. But again, their secondary not going to be the same this matchup as they have been in previous matchups from last season. Beaten up, like we talked about, a couple of key injuries, which should make this an even easier situation for DK Metcalf. But the good news is, head-to-head, he did go over in the away game against San Francisco in the second meeting that they had. He hauled in a ball of 31 yards against San Francisco there. So just a little bit more information on this DK Metcalf prop. I'm liking him to haul in a pass of 24 or more yards against this San Francisco secondary. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below. I think I made it through this video without the power cutting out on me again. I'm going to go upload it now before I lose power completely. Guys, God bless if you are in the Tampa or Florida area. I hope everybody makes it through safely. And I'll see you guys real soon whenever that may be.